Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I am your host and keeper, the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are minions Sora Luna.
Good evening.
Geodes.
Hola.
Serenity Star 13.
Hello.
And adult supervision provided by SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
Only provided depending on the topic.
We have so much show tonight. The spreadsheet has 47 separate entries in it, so unless somebody's got something they desperately need to get off their chest, we're going to just dive right in.
Nah.
We good?
No, we're good.
Well,
Sounds like...
energy drinks.
Hold on. Was that a yes or a no, Skep?
I said yes, go.
Go. All right. Okay, well, Functional's not here, so we can't do this. Boo. Okay,
Boo.
so following up on last week, I brought up the somewhat controversial idea that we should limit the amount of crap people can buy with food stamps. And I was told by a bunch of you that you can't actually buy a bunch of stuff. And Skep actually even showed the regulation and saying, you know, there's a lot of stuff you cannot actually buy. So I did some research because, as I said, my lying eyes tell me that it's different than the way we discussed it. And we were all a little bit off on a number of details. But first, I wanted to show you something which I think is actually positive. It's an example of exactly what I was talking about. Because why not start with something that's actually good? Let me make sure you can actually hear this. Technical excellence, off to a good start here. Okay. Play. Let me know if you can hear it.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi there. I'm Ryan with the San Francisco Human Services Agency, and I'm here today at Heart of the City Farmers
Hi,
Market
Ryan.
to talk to you about CalFresh. Now, if you're enrolled in CalFresh, or if you're just interested in learning a little bit more about the program, it's important for you to know.
It's kind of nice to see a civil servant before they get all burned out.
Yeah, I was about to say he actually looks live and happy and fresh.
He's
It's probably his 6th month on the job, so first
Yeah,
time, you know, he's
probably
he
6
still
weeks.
has,
He's like,
still has his
I'm
soul.
gonna help people.
That you don't have to just spend those dollars at big box retailers or grocery
Person
stores.
in the back
You can
is
actually
giving
spend those
dirty
same
looks.
dollars
I know.
right here at the farmers market.
Yeah.
Let me show you how.
Mad respect though, because some people are wearing like full-blown jackets and he's just in a sweater. So
That's
he's
right.
not a pussy.
Oh, do you see those beans? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this is San Francisco Farmers Market.
Have you seen these signs here before? The ones that say we accept EBT here?
So I'll cut to the chase here. What they're basically doing is you walk up to like a little kiosk and they give you coupons or basically little tokens that let
EBT
you
card, you gotta
get
make sure
2
that
for
you stop
1
by the
on your
information
fresh
booth
produce.
first. For every CalFresh dollar you spend, they'll give you double that amount in shopping tokens. But what that means is that for $5 in EBT benefits, you get $10 of local seasonal produce.
Harry, is this net inflationary?
Maybe.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
The point is
They're
that
creating
these
a currency.
they are. So they can so what they're doing is they're actually incentivizing people on food stamps to go out and buy food that doesn't suck.
Yes, exactly.
They are,
And then
but they are
Well
also
said.
kind of like it's one of those things that it can be kind of a catch-22 because if that was something the farmer could have sold for normal price and gotten full money on, that helps them. So it's like to me it's a tiny bit of a catch.
There's a program that's kicking in the matching funds. The farmer's not out anything.
okay,
In fact,
good.
if any,
This is corporate farming.
yeah,
most of
Oh,
the
okay,
stuff.
good. I just
Yeah.
wanted to be sure because
Yeah.
I'm like,
This
don't
is
screw the farmers.
there are the smallest acreage size that you can make money at in California to run a farm is about 1,000 acres.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Harry.
no, you're fine. But
That's
we
good to know.
also talked about the negative part of this thing, and I was like, they should not be able to buy Funyuns and all sorts of other stuff. And I went back and listened, and I think Serenity said that they can't buy sodas and things like that. Let me correct the record on that. I actually checked. There's a ton of stuff. So this is from the Georgia Snap, but it's all based on the same federal regulations that Skep was reading. You can buy things like energy drinks. I have no objection to shrimp. I have no objection to coffee. Slurpees, big gulps, fountain drinks, candy bars. You can get Subway sandwiches. Again, that's not necessarily so bad. cold deli items, and this is where
Oh.
you run into all kinds of issues, because a Totino's pizza roll is a cold deli item. You know, you can get all the junk food you want with your EBT stuff, birthday cake, frozen pizza. As long as it's not hot, you can actually get it. So my thesis of people are using food stamps to buy a lot of unhealthy food, I think it holds up, actually. There's a lot of stuff that you can buy that doesn't sound that I think hidden in the SNAP regulations. There's a lot of leeway to buy shit. That's basically what I'm saying here.
A very interesting data point to have is to know by category of food what the purchases are on SNAP. I suspect you're probably right.
Well, it's and if they're not doing it with SNAP, they're doing it how I always see it here in West Virginia, because a lot of people who are on disability or SNAP or whatever are also doing work, but they're getting paid under the table, so they just pay for everything in cash. That's not allowed on SNAP.
It's as if you anticipated what's coming next, Serenity.
I am God.
I have a few examples of abuse of the system. So I went out and thought, I wonder what other things you can get with food stamps. So I thought I will do some research on this. Let's see, find a spreadsheet.
Bulk platinum.
All right. So
he's not Ferengi.
No. As they say with Walk Don't Run Productions, this is Vicky.
Another thing that you can actually get on your food stamps
Hi,
on
Vicky.
Amazon is gift baskets. This is something that I did for Father's Day. But months ago, I was trying to find an idea for the fathers in my life. Pretty much have everything they want and need. So I didn't know what to think of. So I decided to go on Amazon, and I found out that you can actually purchase gift baskets, and they have a variety of different ones. And the price ranges from like $20 all the way up to 100 and something. It just depends.
I'm so glad that my tax dollars are being used to buy gift baskets for the fathers in her life.
I'm hoping we're going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say she's married, so it's her father or her husband's father, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to
maybe a
benefit of the doubt.
grandfather. A grandfather.
Yeah.
But wait.
I think that's appropriate.
But wait, there's
Yes.
more.
Of course there is.
There's more.
On use your food stamps on there. Another thing, which I probably doubt anybody will be interested in, but I figured I'd throw it out there because it was something that I was not expecting to see when I was doing my research for this video. And you can actually buy caviar, like, you know, if you want to be a little bougie, there you go. It is expensive because y'all know caviar is not something that you can just go to the store and get anywhere.
Okay.
Where you live,
So you can get caviar. You can
I
also
don't
get
wanna
like kits for movie night snacks and astronaut ice cream. But wait, there's more.
But it's only the blonde row.
Yeah, I know. But wait, there's more.
Okay.
Terrible shit.
Another one, if you have this would be perfect
Vicky's very
for
crafty.
date nights, or if you just want to spend time or have something fancy and be bougie again. Lobster and steak with your food stamps on Amazon. Personally purchased
On
this
Amazon?
if it was like a date night for just me and Leon.
Yes, you can order food through Amazon. If it
Lobster?
meets the SNAP criteria, you can get stuff on Amazon and have it purchased with food stamps.
Snap EBT aside, lobster
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Yep. Hey,
2 fresh maintail lobsters and 2 filet mignons and clam chowder and crab cakes.
yeah. So this isn't so much the eating crap thing. This is using,
This
you know,
is
basically
blowing my
using food
mind.
stamp money to buy luxury items, which kind of implies that maybe she's not one of the deserving poor.
Well, I would say this about that. Don't poor people deserve steak, lobster, and caviar
No,
as much as rich people?
no.
So, I don't know.
Okay.
I think the idea of this thing, so it's supposed to, from what I remember people here talking about, I don't know what our equivalent to this is, but the idea is that it's supposed to also protect dignity for people. So like it's if you have kids and stuff and they want to have a pizza birthday party, all their classmates can have that, but you can't afford that. But if you're able to, through your food stamps, buy those frozen pizzas, right? Or order something off of Amazon. It allows you the dignity of having this from time to time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's the idea. It's not fair to
Yeah.
say that someone who is working 3 jobs but still has to be on food stamps because of whatever place they are in life. It's not fair that they can't at least enjoy a Mars bar from time to time.
Well, actually,
That-
it is.
yeah.
It's fair that they can enjoy the fruits of their labor. Okay, the taxpayer does not owe someone a respite because of their bad decisions, unless society makes the decision that that's a good thing. And that's what we're slowly deciding, is that everybody gets forgiven for everything. And there are no bad decisions, and the people who make more shouldn't have more. The people who produce more shouldn't get higher reward. Everybody should. It's basically where we are headed. I know this sounds like hyperbole, but it's not. This is where North Korea went. They have one salary that is paid to every person in the country who is not a child. Every person, including the dictator, in theory, receives the same salary, the same amount of worthless North Korean script. That's where we're headed. From each according to his ability to each according to his need. Probably
Well-
should move on. Sorry, I'm talking.
No,
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 you're
I
fine.
was actually going to agree with you because I remember reading fairly recently or listening fairly recently with the idea of wealth hoarding versus standard paycheck sort of thing for everybody.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's not at all alarming.
But wait,
Yeah,
there's
no.
more.
It's
I
probably
have-
fine.
I have another one. Not only can you buy things on food stamps that are luxury items, which you would think that maybe they don't need to be disallowed, but possibly people who don't need to use their food stamp money to buy actual food for daily consumption maybe shouldn't be receiving food stamps anyway. But how about this? You can use food stamps to get things that aren't usually purchased through food stamps. This is Beauty Passion. Now, Beauty Passion, BEAUTI Passion, PASCHEN. Here she is. She has cleverly figured out a great scam.
That's her name?
Yes, Beauty Passion. So
I see how she got her name.
here she is. You have to get an app.
So on your smartphone, your iPad,
Look at the
whatever you
size
have,
of that
it's-
iPad. Either she's the smallest person ever, or she has an
It's
iPad way bigger than I can afford for me.
I
That's
think, is
not
that an
that
iPad Pro?
That's a
Yeah.
pro.
That's a Pro.
Yeah. So here she is on her $1,100 iPad trying to explain how you can basically turn food stamps into money. And the way you do it is you download the stupid app and it shows you places where you can get rebates on things. You use your food stamp money to buy things which you may or may not need simply for the purpose of getting the rebate money so you can buy the things you actually want.
Yeah. There's stuff like Ibotta and Walmart used to have a reimbursement rebate thing. There's a lot of them that kind of do that stuff. There's Rakuten, which does it when you buy stuff online. That's
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
feel my pulse in my temple.
I the only one I use is Honey. I like
Yeah,
Honey a
Honey-
lot,
Honey's good.
but I'm not signed up for it, so I haven't signed up for the cashback aspect because I don't know how that works properly, and I don't feel like attaching a bank account to these. But it's great for coupons, and hey, 10% off is less than you would have spent on the item you wanted to buy anyway.
Yeah.
So
Nice iPad food stamp recipient. Okay, anyway. I just wanted to throw that out there because I wanted to make sure I wasn't going completely nuts after our conversation because it's like, I'm like, man, that sounds like a pretty good program. And then I'm like, no, wait a second, something is missing here. So I did a little bit of research. I did not go out of my way to find black women with funny names, by the way. That's just what the YouTube algorithm gave me. So,
yeah.
no racism intended here. Go ahead, Skep.
we could make this a much broader discussion, and I hesitate to even bring this up, but there is a case to be made for, as societies develop, as they become more and more capable of generating just by societal interaction, just by daily life, basically generating enough throwaway wealth to where the standard of living that the state is willing to guarantee, right now we guarantee basically either federally or state or local a place to live, food to eat, and an education through high school. I mean, that's basically yours just for being a citizen. That will be expanded to medical care, I imagine, and other things, possibly even to the point of society being able to provide a small stipend every month for the necessities, for the necessities of modern life, and it not be a significant tax on society to do that. When it does that I think can become a moral good. Problem is it's so prone to abuse and so prone to scope creep that it always turns into a problem later on, despite the best of intentions. So I don't know. I'm almost of two minds about that.
Yeah, well, we don't have time for a nuanced conversation.
I'm sorry.
No, you were fine, dude. You're absolutely fine. You're doing exactly what I want you to do. I just wanted to do a brief follow-up to what we did last time, because some of what was said wasn't really accurate from just everybody, and I wanted to just kind of like clarify a few things. Yes, you were absolutely right about the snap thing. The trouble is there are loopholes that are so big they can drive a really fat
Yeah,
horse
I didn't
through.
realize that I should have realized the loopholes would get that big. It's just not something I had paid a lot of attention to.
Yeah,
That's really interesting. I appreciate the update on that.
yeah, no, and I really like to start out with the positive thing, because that's exactly what I was talking about. Like come up with some kind of deal where you get incentivized to buy the good stuff. And
Old Beauty there with her $1,100 iPad looks pretty positive.
I actually don't know how much an iPad Pro is, but I think it's like $1,100.
Oh, it's more than that.
I wonder if
I own the same. I think probably the same year she has.
Yeah, but you're using it as a digitizer for drawing.
Yes, I do, and that's
you have an
why
actual
I don't take
professional reason to use it.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
iPad Pro 12.9 inch 846. That's refurb.
Oh, really? A refurb. She doesn't. Beauty Passion doesn't do refurb. Skep. All right, moving on. Now this has been in the news for a while. As started back in September, the idea that Trump was being spied on and that the Durham Probe had found, evidence of this when he was looking into the origins of the whole Russian collusion BS narrative. Well, they finally filed an indictment, or filed the charges in court. Now we have something actually concrete. It's not just hearsay. We actually have something here. And since I do this kind of stuff for a living, I wanted to just kind of briefly go through this. And I do mean kind of briefly. I'm going to try really hard not to spend too much time dwelling on all of this, but I just wanted to go through a little bit of this, if you'll bear with me for a bit. One of the first things that he basically found was that Sussman, who's a current national security advisor, basically lied through his teeth about the fact that he was not representing someone when he said, "Oh, but Russia, Trump, bad," talking to the FBI.
Russia.
And he was lying, because the thing about lawyers is they have records which keep track of their billing. So Durham has actually just sort of said, wait, when you went to the FBI and started making these accusations, you sort of, when asked, lied about the fact that you were representing the Clinton campaign. Oops, that's kind of a problem, as in it's illegal. Yeah, so here's the factual background to this. The defendant is charged in a one-count indictment with making a materially false statement to the FBI. Okay, I'm not going to get into the details of that. The defendant, a lawyer at a large international law firm, Law Firm 1, that was serving as counsel to the Clinton campaign, met with the FBI General Counsel at FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. The defendant provided the FBI General Counsel with purported data and white papers that allegedly demonstrated a covert communications channel between the Trump organization and a Russia-backed bank. The indictment alleges that the defendant lied in that meeting, falsely stating that the general counsel that he was not providing the allegations to the FBI on behalf of any client. In fact, the defendant had assembled and conveyed the allegations to the FBI on behalf of at least 2 specific clients, including Technology Executive One, who's an interesting figure, and at a U.S.-based internet company, and the Clinton campaign. Now, there's a guy who was one of the heads at Nustar Dns. And Nustar DNS is in the business of basically giving people services. Now, many people use this, like, so when you go into your computer and you say, I'm going to use Cloudflare DNS at 1.1.1 or Google DNS at 8.8.8, the reason they give you that service for free is so they can mine data about you. They can tell which websites you're going to based on the IP addresses you look up, and a lot more. They can't tell.
Is Google's DNS.
That is Google's DNS, yes.
So 8844 or something. Yeah.
So when you load a VPN to try to have some kind of privacy, one of the first things it does is have you not use that VPN server. So imagine, if you will, you had a VPN hooked up, and your VPN company gave you a DNS server to use. But instead of keeping that information private, they just sold it to somebody for money, thereby making it so your private DNS was anything but. That's what they did to Trump, both the Trump campaign and the Trump White House, because this guy wanted to ingratiate himself and end up becoming a national cybersecurity advisor if the Democrats got in.
Read about this.
Yes. So he wanted to make this deal. And so there was a university that had access to analysis tools for doing hacking. I have a pretty good idea which one it is, but I don't want to say because I don't know for certain. Okay.
Oh, but I know who it is too.
Yeah. And so you have government funded researchers at a university doing the analysis of these logs. Now, to add insult to injury, what they did was they wanted this alpha bank to look like there was communication coming from the Trump campaign. So when you read these articles where people say they planted evidence on servers, they didn't plant evidence on servers. They spoofed DNS traffic from the White House to Alpha Bank to try to show that there was a connection between the White House and Alpha Bank. It was completely fabricated, but they didn't plant anything on any servers at the White House.
Oh my God.
And I know this isn't the most interesting content in the world, but I'm just mentioning it because the coverage of this is so shockingly bad that I wanted to try to straighten this out just a little bit. Okay.
You're doing God's work.
Yeah. And I'm giving you the light version of this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yes.
The level of stupidity. I'm just sorry. So they very obviously, because of how much stuff got leaked out of the Trump White House, they could have had someone in there to do something, and they didn't even bother to spoof it.
Okay,
that bothers me.
No, you're gonna love this.
Oh Jesus!
You're gonna love this. The White House had a deal with an internet company that executive number one worked with. And using that access with the internet company that was contracted by the White House to provide security, executive one got access to the data.
Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this with my mic, but that was a face
That's
palm.
a face palm.
That was a face palm. And I'm not agreeing with these people, but my God, this is the idiot who's the head of security. What is it? He's not Homeland Security. He's
not an idiot. He's kind of a liar and a crook.
Well, I know, but when I say idiot, I mean it's just like cover.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
He covered his tracks terribly.
Yeah, here's the section here. Tech Executive One's employer, Internet Company One, had come to access and maintain dedicated servers for the Executive Office of the President as part of a sensitive arrangement whereby it provided DNS resolution services to the EOP. Tech Executive One and his associates exploited this arrangement by mining the EOP's DNS traffic and other data for the purpose of gathering derogatory information about Donald Trump. Oh boy. Yeah. The indictment further details that on February 9th, 2017, the defendant provided an updated set of allegations, including Russia Bank 1 data and additional allegations relating to Trump, to a second agency of the U.S. government, Agency 2. The government's evidence at trial will establish that these additional allegations relied, in part, on the purported DNS traffic that Tech Executive One and others had assembled pertaining to Trump Tower, Donald Trump's New York City apartment building, the executive offices of the president, and the aforementioned healthcare provider. In his meeting with Agency 2, the defendant provided data which he claimed reflected purportedly suspicious DNS lookups by these entities of Internet Protocol addresses affiliated with a Russian mobile phone provider. Now, this is complete nonsense because Trump thought he was being spied on back in the election, right? What do you do when you think you're being spied on and there may even be some deep state involved? Well, you go out and get a secure phone. I personally have owned several high security phones that are only owned by basically spies, businessmen, and drug dealers. And that doesn't make me any one of those things. It just means that as part of my job, I need to actually see that this technology works. So that when sea levels ask me what phone they should get when they travel, I can say, you should get a black phone too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was eating my own dog food, but that doesn't mean that I'm associated with the Russians because the phone is basically checking back to see if there's a software update. Remember, the DNS traffic doesn't say anything about what the communication is, simply that it took place.
God.
And, oh boy.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff you're hearing in the news about, oh, but if sensitive classified data was leaked, no, that's not the issue. That's not what's going on. Unless there's some new indictment about how their antivirus company was also involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
And the malware scanner was finding it, that's just not going to be the issue. So I don't want to beat a dead horse too much, but I mean, are there any questions about this or comments before we move on?
Do we have an audio recording of Trump answering the phone and saying, "Hello, CIA"?
No.
Damn. Okay.
God, how long did I schedule? It's 10 minutes? I'm an idiot. Okay. But we're actually right on schedule. All right. So moving on to U.S. COVID stuff, and this is going to be brief too, actually. Everything's going to be brief. So D.C. is going to end COVID restrictions. The District of Columbia. The writing on the wall must be pretty stark for Muriel Bowser to actually cave on something like this.
Is she getting reelected this year?
I don't know.
That's my question.
Now, and I got this from Geodes. You said that New Mexico's even lifting their stuff.
Partially. There's been it's been kind of interesting what's happened more recently in my state. Long story short, we had a bit of a house meeting for local government, and during the meeting it was discussed what we would do with taxes, as well as I think is all around the same time period as them talking about what we're going to do about the mandates and stuff. The governor said that she's going to lift the mandates, and she made this whole act saying we'll finally get these masks off and all that stuff. But she's been one of the ones on the hardest crackdown back in 2020. So it was yeah, sure, okay.
Trying to make herself sound like a savior when she was really the tyrant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's not a full mask let up. We are still required to mask up inside most buildings, but now we are allowed to unmask in large public buildings effectively. And so for example, even concert areas and stuff like that can now be unmasked.
Can you imagine?
I know it's
You
so
better be
exciting.
careful. At this rate, dancing might break out.
Oh my god!
And then canoodling.
Yeah,
and short skirts.
But it's kind of interesting too, because I think partially also why this happened is, and this is just kind of a slight side note. There was a whole thing involving redistricting not too long ago where they took an entire section of the southeast side of New Mexico, which is pretty much the only side of New Mexico that consistently votes red, and created an arm from the topmost section of the district, which is controlled by Albuquerque and Santa Fe, which are the two Democrat strongholds, to engulf Roswell, which is the biggest city down there. And with one of the people in power basically stating, we are doing this to make sure that the Republicans can never maintain control down there again. Like that was actually more or less stated.
At the rate they're own goaling, I don't know if these plans are going to be sufficient.
That's the thing, and like there's lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff. But it was interesting though, because during the Senate meeting, 10 Democrat senators, local senators for the local House government, who are all live in that region, all started reneging on like Social Security taxes and all this other stuff. And I figure it's one of three things: either they are trying to look for re-election and they realize things are not looking so great, so they're trying to win favor. They realize people can show up on their front doors if they're not careful. Or they might be trying to disarm people for the time being, and then later on they'll go ahead and start voting in a lot more taxes and stuff like that.
Of course.
But we'll see how it goes. But New Mexico, there's been some weird things happening this last month, and it's kind of positive, but at the same time, it's like I know what this administration is like. And I'm not holding my breath. So,
well, you're supposed to hold your breath because that's what you do when you get your picture taken. When you're not wearing a mask. So just be glad you're not in California, because California, in typical California style, has decided that we're going to sort of coyly keep 1 foot in the COVID restriction grave forever with the Smarter plan. It's called Smarter, and it's an acronym. Let's see. Where is this stupid acronym?
Came up with it wasn't Smarter.
Can't find it. It's like science, masks, something. Anyway, the key phrase from this is there's one paragraph in here. But he and other Democratic governors who have imposed public health measures are adjusting their approaches as Americans willing to tolerate the risks seek a return to normalcy in some ways. No, we want a return to normalcy in all ways. We want you to stop the state of emergency and go back to the way things were. And if you need a new one, you need to go back and make your case. We don't want to go back to normalcy in some ways. We want to go back to normalcy in all the ways. We want every single thing back.
I found out what it stands for.
Okay, what is it again? It's total cringe.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Please.
Shots, masks, awareness, readiness, testing, education, and RX, aka prescription.
Ugh.
I know it's bad. It's so bad.
That's my only comment.
God damn it.
It's like shots, vaccines are the most powerful weapon against hospitalization and serious illness, according to the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the whole properly worn masks. It's like not just properly worn masks, the right masks. Yeah, and they basically want to keep everyone scared, because that's what awareness is to continue to stay aware of COVID-19 spreading, evolving variants, and communicate clearly with people. Basically, they want people to be afraid to leave their houses.
Yeah, well, speaking of people who are afraid, so we're narrowing from the state of California that's removing its boot from our neck ever so slightly. So if you're vaccinated, you can not wear a mask in most places. That's basically the rule, except all of the counties in Silicon Valley around the San Francisco Bay Area have gotten rid of the mask mandates, except for Santa Clara County, because Sarah Cody, the health person, has decided that no, we're just going to keep doing this until I feel like we're not.
Yeah, I'm too stupid to figure it out. Okay.
Yeah, and so this is obviously making business people upset, because if you're on the border between San Mateo County and Santa Clara County, and you've got a business in Santa Clara County, what incentive do people from the north have to go to your store versus the one that doesn't make them wear the face diaper?
Mhm.
So it's a problem. I mean, by the metrics that she's sort of kind of half committed to without committing to anything, maybe the mask requirement will go away by end of March.
Oh, sweet, naive Harry.
But if I go to Monterey County, or I go to Santa Cruz County, or San Mateo County, or Alameda County, or San Francisco even, I cannot wear a chin diaper. But in Santa Clara County, they're just going to stay locked down because the fear element is just so high there that there's a lot of people that welcome this. I know people who never want to take the mask off, and I'm not kidding. Sorry, Skep,
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
here as well.
Yeah.
So in Gilroy, you have to wear a mask.
Yes, that would
In
be Santa Clara
Hollister,
County.
seven miles away, you don't.
Is that San Benito County?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's just a little bit far south.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I actually forgot to mention too, Harry, is that the release, the ease up on the mandates in my state start in March as well, late March.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, right now you can go to San Francisco and just if you don't pay too much attention, pretend you're in Florida. But Santa Clara County, nope. So anyway, I thought we needed a bit of a sanity break here. I wanted to show you
Every day of my life.
Every day of your life. Let's see if I can do this with sound. I hope this doesn't blow your head off, and I hope we don't get copy struck.
Oh, I want one.
Play.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
I want one now.
I'd be terrified, but I want to try.
Take my money,
Chinese.
please.
It's Chinese, though. I'd be afraid to drop me.
Shut up and take my money.
What a way to go, though.
Isn't that beautiful?
It
Okay,
is.
and also, there's a fish that I hate. I found another one. So
Wrong one here.
No, it's right here.
Okay.
This have to rare
it's a ghost
alien
shark.
like
Ghost
baby
shark.
ghost shark. No, fuck this
Baby
fish.
ghost
It's
shark, do, 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 do.
it's basically half shark, half manta ray, and this is no.
Yeah.
Let's see the picture.
Oh,
Aw.
that's cute.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
This is terrible. I hate this fish. And then it grows up to look kind of like a weird
That
sunfish
is
thing.
so creepy.
It
Yeah.
looks like a nurse
Ghost
shark, like
shark.
got flattened.
No, I like sharks normally, but no, fuck this. I don't. No,
Oh, Harry.
I don't like
Be
it.
mean to animals. Don't be mean to animals.
Yeah.
There's just certain fish that need to be hit by
Oh,
lightning.
look at that one. That's so
that
cool.
one's cool. That's cool.
No,
That's awesome.
it's terrible.
Awesome.
Lightning
Go
bolt
back
for
to
you,
the
my friend.
baby. All babies are beautiful.
Not.
It's actually not really true.
Let's see. I think she thinks it's good.
The sky. This creature is
Yeah.
known as a ghost shark.
Aw, kinda looks like a sperm.
yeah, I was gonna say it, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah.
I'll keep that in mind when we get to penis news.
It does look like it has feathers. How cool.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Hate. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. So Sora, let's see. We
Yes.
don't have functional tonight. So do you have enough outrage together for us to go into the Canadian part of
Oh,
this,
wait,
the
hold-
Canada stand stuff?
Let me
ramp
pull
herself
up. I'm sorry. I have it. I have so many.
Ah,
You set
Oh,
that
this
up. I
one.
have a lot of tabs open.
okay.
Kanakistan.
Please
Oh
go
my
right
God.
ahead.
Lord save that country from itself.
Yeah, so this is the Canadian
Oh my
Parliament, just a
God.
sample.
Optimistic,
Where are you?
hopeful vision for public life isn't a naive dream.
I love
it can be a
this one.
powerful force for
I
change.
like her too,
If
yeah.
Canadians are to trust their government
hair
needs to
chats.
trust Canadians. Those are the words of the Prime Minister in 2015. These people, very often misogynistic, racist, women haters, science deniers, the fringe. Same prime minister 6 years later as he fans the flames of an unjustified national emergency. So, Mr. Speaker, when did the prime minister lose his way? When did it happen?
A fine question. I really like this. Let's see. Can I find this thing?
I know she got a straightforward answer.
I have this labeled as mostly consistent Justin Trudeau.
He is consistently how he is.
Here, how about this? How about this video?
About the protest by farmers. The situation is concerning, and we're all very worried about family and friends. I know that's the reality for many of you. Let me remind you, Canada will always be there to defend the right of peaceful protest.
So Indian farmers, no problem.
Oh, and they had a truck protest here, all over Canada, too. And a lot of them were like, "Why are we protesting for farmers not here?"
But now, well, here.
Our economy, our democracy.
Yeah, the gist of it is, if it's Indian farmers, he's all in favor of their protests. But as soon as it becomes people in his backyard, oh no, protests, get my painting salts.
This is what happens when little Lord Fauntleroy is handed a country to play with.
Yeah.
This little fucking prick looks just like his dad, too.
Which one?
I thought he looked like Castro, but
his real father is Fidel Castro.
Yeah, I think that means 2 SNAP-funded fruit baskets.
I think someone needs to make a meme that makes him look like Lord Farquaad, because that's what he reminds me of. Some of you may die, but I'm willing to do that.
I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
Exactly.
Well, he did this thing. This is shorter than the big long thing. Trudeau's Justice Minister on convoy supporters. If you are a member of a pro-Trump movement who's donating, you ought to be worried about your bank account being frozen. Okay. What is this with freezing people's bank accounts? Jenna sent me a note saying that like 1 million accounts got frozen. That seems high. Hopefully that was hyperbole.
I think that's hyperbole because there's been no actual number. They have threatened, and the police, is it a chief? I don't know. There was a video that another channel had on of him basically saying that even if the protesters leave, they're going to be investigating them for months. Sorry, Sora.
No. Something that's not really to do with the protesters, but very interesting. So I follow Emily D. Baker. She's a lawyer on YouTube. Usually does commentary more about all sorts of legal matters. But one of her past streams, just a little while ago, was talking about the Wendy Williams issue with her bank in New York. Basically, anyone can take you under conservatorship. Basically, that's the idea of it. So there is no protection of you and your assets if someone decides that you are not fit to be in control of your assets.
Oh, lovely.
The gist that I got from the state of New York. So if that's true, and I didn't completely mismangle the law there, then I'm wondering if this will be the future. If in certain states where they don't have that power to protect people from, say, relatives who find out that they use their own money to support people they want to support, if they can go and get their assets seized through conservatorship.
It sounds a lot like red flag laws, that's for sure, in terms of from bank accounts.
I was going to tell you how many accounts had been seized. Looks like 76 accounts have been frozen with containing about $3.2 million total. And that is since Monday, since the act. At least that's what CTV is reporting.
Yeah, scuttlebutt is that some people, because their families suddenly have no ability to buy anything to live, have had to leave the convoy and go home because of this.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of the problem, though, is the police chief said he's still going to go after them. It doesn't matter if they leave. They're still going to go after them. They're going to make them pay. They're going to indict them. They're going to do all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, y'all are about to write a check you cannot cash, and it's not going to end well.
They're creating martyrs that people can take used for political advantage that will rebound and hit them right in the face.
Yeah, this is not going to go particularly well.
It's not going to
I
end
think.
well.
Well, I mean,
all
when they have
for
their
Trudeau.
general strike, I think they're going to have to add amnesty as one of their things they're shooting for. Sorry, Serenity, go ahead.
Well, the one thing that I'll say that I'll let Sora vent her spleen is that, yes, there may be some stuff, like some people in Canada may not be seeing this stuff, because that was one of the complaints people were making about the Canadian press not showing this to actual Canadians. One, the internet exists, and if you have a half-decent VPN software or VPN, you can get around that shit. And two, the rest of the world is talking about it. You have literal dictators going, Canada, you're taking it a little too far. And they're on Twitter saying it. And it's like, you can't block Twitter, Canada. You're going to really turn into China if you do. But it's like, this is not... like, because the stuff that was happening in America in the 60s and 70s even got out internationally. Like, this is not stuff that's going to hide. Like, it's just not. And it's like this whole delusion that you can somehow hide it and just be a pretty boy, because I think it's amazing how quickly he depuffed after he came back from having air quotes COVID, because he was a puffy boy when he was hiding. But yeah, no, go ahead, Sora, go vent.
Tell us about your Charter of Human Rights, please.
Apparently, it no longer exists. If you
It's
look
more
at
like
what's
a
going
guide-
out,
it's a series of guidelines. It's just a suggestion. It's kind of like etiquette.
Yeah, it's like what was her name? Amelia Post, you know, guide of etiquette.
Yeah, Emily Post. Yeah.
A gentleman always lets somebody exercise their free speech rights.
So actually, to continue on to this not being able to see things, as because we were talking a little bit about this yesterday on Minions, Skep and Sanguine were discussing it, and I was saying how I couldn't find what they were talking about. I was using DuckDuckGo. I even went on Google, and it took me scrolling through Twitter to start seeing some images of what's going on, like the actual what's going on in Ottawa. People were pointing, because I think I have, maybe I don't have the best search, but I think I have a pretty decent search. And if I'm looking for very specific keywords, and the search is not coming up with things, that's pretty bad. And while VPNs and everything are great, if you're the common person, like the majority of the people who don't think about these things, because you are like, well, we have access to the internet, we should be able to find the stuff, and it's not there, that's a huge problem. And that's the huge problem that's happening right now. Elwin was talking about also they were blocking people, so you couldn't leave, even if you were on the fringe and you couldn't leave the protest area. It doesn't matter what you were doing, they're just arresting people. I was also seeing how they were smashing windows, so you couldn't even be in a car because it's freezing temperatures below freezing, and they're just smashing, not necessarily arresting people, just smashing all the truck windows to make sure they're not there's no protesters inside. So,
maybe those defund the police people had a point.
Yeah,
it's weird, because it's not something that you see very often. I mean, the last time that I remember seeing people really turning on, like the police or the government really turning on these people, I remember the London student riots of, was it 2009 maybe?
Yeah.
That got really bad, right? And then they've had riots there in the past for sure, but for like sort of my generation of people, that was like something. And then here, seeing what's happening in Ottawa, I don't know.
Well, let me hold you personally responsible for the parliamentary system. Maybe you can help me understand this. So this is the Trudeau Tracker. There he is. Look at that handsome flat man.
Fuck you.
And if you look at approval and disapproval, if you go back to the 2021 election, his approval was lower and his disapproval was higher than it is right now. But yet, didn't he get basically re-canonized as prime minister because of that election?
But in a minority government, I believe.
Yeah, I remember.
So he didn't really get a majority, and it was a minority government with the NDP, and they're teaming up with this. So might as well have a majority.
Well, your system seems like it's not fit for purpose because you end up with a prime minister that 2/3 of the people think sucks.
Yeah,
and somehow this is okay.
Wins minority government in 2021. Yeah, it was minority government. Okay, so I'm going to say something that's going to probably annoy some people. It's nothing to do with the riots. It has to do with the fact that, ironically, if you want to find information really easy, Bing is actually better.
Poor Bing. Poor malign Bing. Nobody thinks of Bing.
I use Bing. Bing image search is actually better than Google a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
I forget Bing exists.
I use them both.
Yeah.
Which I just like the fact that there's no ads at the top. Like when I asked about Trudeau minority government, it like first thing was Canada, Trudeau Liberals win minority government.
Yeah, but it seems like you've got two major problems. First of all, your parliamentary system gives you leaders that everybody hates somehow. And second of all, your Charter of Human Rights isn't really binding enough to be meaningful. I mean, long term, something needs to happen to improve the situation there. Otherwise, stuff like this is just going to keep happening. This is just me as an American going, I'm looking in from the outside going, I don't get it.
There was a let me well, there was a point I was going to make a little earlier. I'm trying to think of it. Well, one of the you mentioned you kind of were joking about the defund the police thing earlier, Harry.
I was.
Yeah, one of the things I actually kind of agree with some lawyers, because I often off and on will listen to like Rakita, and one of the things that he states, and I think this is a good thing to maybe kind of stress, especially right now, is look, there are plenty of good police officers. There are also plenty not good police officers. But the one thing you should also do is you should respect that they know how to do their job, which means therefore, like what if they want you to try and talk to them about like different stuff going on, you don't talk to them and all this other stuff. Like you respect that they're good at their jobs, and therefore you keep in mind that like you don't necessarily always want to be you want like emphasize like what rights you have in terms of talking to them, not talking to them, and stuff like that. But it's also kind of the thing of like why movements like defund the police or like supporting the police are not necessarily always the best thing in the world too. So because for both for the complete extremes. So
well, I don't mean to quote from Battlestar Galactica, but I'm going to quote from Battlestar Galactica. There's a reason you separate military and the police. One fights the enemies of the state, the other serves and protects people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people. Now, the problem here is if it was just the Ottawa government saying we don't want this happening in our city, and that's what the people of Ottawa want, that would be one situation. But it's Justine federalizing this law enforcement event that I find most disturbing. It's a serious problem, I think, for your democracy that this is happening.
Maybe what he needs is a national police force.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That would solve this, and the national police force could just go into people's homes and make sure they're behaving right.
Well, they're only going to put people on the force who are above reproach.
Exactly, and if you haven't done anything wrong,
you got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Man, I think you're really onto something, Skep.
Thanks. It's my way.
Sorry, I don't mean to hold you personally responsible for every bad thing that happens in Canada, Sora.
That's okay. Everyone else blames me, and everywhere else
can
add to the train.
You're on the opposite side from all that stuff.
All right. Well, let's see. I have another palette cleanser for us. Now, remember the Inspector Gadget thing? Take a look at this. This is an electric wingsuit.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I need to mute it.
Oh, I do? Oh, sorry.
Maybe.
There we go.
I thought it was just generic music, but yeah.
It's probably generic in a sense. But
Yeah.
so this guy basically teamed up with BMW and he's got this wingsuit. So he's got his two buddies with him. And then all of a sudden he's like, I don't want to run into this mountain. How about I kick in the motors?
Oh my god, that's so cool.
He hit almost 200 miles per hour in this thing, which is 3
This
times the
has to
speed of a
be-
regular one.
This has to be in the next like Mission Impossible or James
Can you
Bond.
buy
or-
it with food stamps?
If you can get enough rebates on Ibotta. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is really cool. I mean, we're getting so close to the jetpack that we were promised, Skep.
I know.
Mhm.
I know. I'm going to be in.
I
the
just want a
grave the day it
hoverboard
comes
though,
out.
like a real one.
A real one.
Aim
Yeah.
high. You want to aim higher than that. Hoverboard is not
I
high
agree with
enough.
that.
I like
That's
these
too high
powered
up.
wingsuits. Have you seen the one where they're
Too heavy
going
for them. I want a
alongside?
hoverboard.
They're going alongside a jetliner.
Oh
A
god.
jet
Really?
airliner. Yeah. There is a picture of that.
I think
And
that's
it's the guy. It's the guy from Sweden with the actual jet engine.
Oh, he would have to because the stall speed of a jetliner is higher than the max
Yeah.
speed
Oh,
of
yeah,
the wingsuit.
140 miles an hour.
We'll call up your dad. He'll
Oh.
clear this all up for us.
Can you imagine American paratroopers having those though?
Yeah.
I
Fuck
do.
you.
I do have one concern with that though. If the motors like fail and like combust, for example, while you're trying to fly up, now you've got a problem of one, you're in the middle of the air, and two, your feet are now on fire. So-
Yeah. I saw that part of the Rocketeer. I think he caught on fire at one point in that.
I
love
think
that movie.
those are electric, and they can still fry, but I don't think they have any combustibles in that sense in them.
They are electric and they can provide 5 minutes worth of thrust on the lithium
Yeah.
batteries that are
And
there.
there's a quick release right there where the two hinges are. So he yanks it. If it fries, drops it, and he has a parachute on his back.
Well, there are
So he-
two parachutes. There's one for the unit itself
One
and
for
then
the
one for
rig.
him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like that could also work to like fake people out if you're trying to sneak into a country, like drop the engine and just kind of glide in. Whee!
Yeah. I like it. Anyway, I want one.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
waiting for
want
Tom Cruise to try to do his own stunts, air quote, with one of those. Sorry.
Okay, so Ukraine.
Oh.
Now, I heard something. I'm just going to deal with a very narrow aspect of it because we do not have time to discuss everything that's happening in Ukraine. So I saw a video where somebody made a claim that there was a big water rights issue associated with all of this. So I did some looking into it and found this English language thing from Ukraine where they're saying, yeah, this water that we're not giving to Crimea seems to be working. Let's just keep not giving Crimea any water. Effectively, Ukraine has decided, well, we don't like Russia invading Crimea, so why don't we just not let them get any water? And so agriculture and people in Crimea is just being pretty much destroyed by the fact that there have been a few years now of Ukraine withholding water from Crimea. So when we talk about the Russians possibly invading Ukraine, oftentimes when you look back at history, the real reason for these things is almost always not, oh, they didn't like us because of our freedom. No, it's like
Right.
there's always a much more mundane reason.
Right.
And resources is often it, and water is a classic one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm not saying that I endorse the Russians moving in, but it makes a lot more sense to me that they're worried about not having any water coming in than they are about NATO. Because I don't think outside of the U.S. they give a
Quickly
crap
offer
about
something
NATO.
Here.
Please.
Crimea has a lot of Russians living there. They work the land. They have farms there. And there are a lot of Ukrainians who also have farms there. It is a mixed bag of ethnic Russians and ethnic Ukrainians in that area. It's a very arid area, as I remember. I mean, it's something like, it almost the climate of Utah, and they have a really complicated system of canals to get and irrigation trenches to get the water to where the farmers need it in Crimea. Ukraine my opinion, it might be being a bit of a dog in the manger, because the Ukrainians generally as a country do not like the people in Crimea because of their Russian influence. And there's a bad feeling about Crimea anyway. And some of these guys are I think, happy to punish Crimea this way. And it just happens to serve, they believe to wrongly, I think, to serve their political goal. Anyway, that's just what I had to say about that.
Oh, fairly reasonable. Yeah, because, you know, if you look at, is there a political way out of this? We brought up, Skep brought up realpolitik last week. And so what's in it for everybody? And it seems to me that if Ukraine simply said, we're not ever going to join NATO, and Russia said, we're not ever going to invade Ukraine, and they turn the spigot back on, there's like a win-win for everybody. And we could just avoid all of this. Maybe I'm just being naive.
No. The problem is Ukrainians likely believe that that's just letting the camel's nose in the tent. That any concession to Russia is just, you know, fraught with, if nothing else, symbolic give up.
Well, Sora sent me a link. This is about the Ukraine thing.
Yeah, that's what the quote I told you from Boris Johnson.
Okay, let me go ahead
and that
bring
fun.
that up.
What did Bojo say about Crimea?
Oh yeah, this is the quote from earlier. Okay, all right. Yeah, he was being a bit hyperbolic. Okay. Yeah, because we're not going to solve the the Ukrainian problem. I mean, obviously nobody wants war with Russia, but Crimea, it's like possession is 9/10 of the law. Nobody's going to force Russia out of Crimea. Again, it's just realpolitik. It's not about what's right or wrong or anything else.
It's just the reality on the ground.
It's just the reality on the ground, and it seems like there's room for a compromise here, but it doesn't seem like anybody's actually talking about what the deal should look like. Yeah, I'm just kind of at a loss. It's like, okay, thanks, Europe. That was great. We're just going to have more skirmishes in Europe bleeding over into God knows everything else.
Assholes.
Yeah. Because everything's just going so well already without your help. Okay. So
stay tuned for more news from Johnson & Johnson. Oh, wait, that's a different thing entirely.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have a science article actually held up. Memory issues for older people could be the result of clutter. I know, Skep's thinking, you think? There's a paradox in memory science. Empirical evidence and life experience both suggest older adults have more knowledge of the world. However, in laboratory settings, they generally perform worse on memory tests than younger adults. Wait, what were we talking about? What can explain the disparity? That's like, Skep already knows. Do we really need a study to tell us that as you get older, there's just more crap that you have to sift through to get to the answer?
It's the you have observed more straight changes in objects than someone who has been through fewer solves. That's just what it boils down to. And you remember those, and then when you construct, your conversations, your interaction with other people, it is influenced heavily by all the things that you have experienced. Those have shaped, molded you, and informed you, and have constructed 1,000 little reactions to small things you don't even think about. And as you get older, you get more of those. You become, if you keep your eyes open, and if you can keep the level of intellectual curiosity high enough for long enough, people get intellectually tired. I think that's one thing that this article possibly ignores a little bit, is that #not all. I think for some people, for some old people, that this is the reason that they seem confused or seem to equivocate or dither quite a bit because they are sifting through data and trying to come up with an appropriate response or whatever. But I think there are many other factors, and this is one of those things where somebody had a good idea, they tested for it, got a little bit of supporting evidence for it, but I don't think it's the whole solution at all. I don't think it explains the entire phenomenon at all. Some people go through life, they literally hit a wall. They hit an intellectual wall. They don't want to know more things. And I would even estimate that this is most people.
One of the things I actually got to think about when I was looking at this article too is I wonder how much of this also plays into like cynicism versus optimism, because generally speaking, optimistic people tend to and I mean, it's true in terms of on a societal level, optimistic people tend to do better. But I'm also wondering if it's true in terms of like mental decline is not as strong because they'd be more inclined to learn things probably over time. At least that's what I was wondering.
Well, hold on. I'm not trying to be a dick here. I genuinely don't understand something you just said. You said optimistic people tend to do better.
Well, like in terms of like in business relationships, interpersonal relationships, stuff like that. So I was wondering if maybe it's also true for education. Well,
agreeable people tend to do better, and it's possible that optimistic people are more agreeable. I don't know if optimism is a driver for success. I think insofar as it's associated with agreeableness, it might be. Again, I'm a little out of my depth. I'm not a psychologist.
Optimism is a driver for future cynicism.
Fair enough.
Everything was going just fine until I ended up living in a van down by the river.
Right, exactly.
There's you, there's me. Okay.
David Spade hiding a laugh behind his fist.
It's
trying
so
to
good.
keep it together.
Yeah. Damn. No,
comedy.
well, there was, I can't remember in here, it said something about, it wasn't the hypothalamus. I think it was the hippocampus. There was some sort of hypothesis about an organic cause that might be here. Simply saying that we're just not good at keeping the unnecessary stuff out. Is there an argument to be made for just being dumb in the first 50 years of your life, and then, so that you're saving all that virgin memory space, and then you just kind of start learning about the world when you become 50, so that you're nice and fresh when you're in your 80s. Teacher, I'm not being stupid. I'm just pacing myself. Don't fill my head full of unnecessary facts. I'm not going to need that information later. Who cares about the airspeed velocity of an African swallow? Okay. Okay, more Canada news. Canada approves Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine for adults. I'm not making any health recommendations, nor is Minions of the Zoo, and I'm not making any claims about any of that sort of stuff. I'll just say that experts, some people seem to like this particular vaccine because it's easy to make, easy to store, doesn't cost a lot, and doesn't have a lot of the problems that some people have with other vaccines. There's no use of any human cells in the development of it, and seems to have a much better safety profile than the mRNA counterparts. Generally pretty benign and kind of works pretty well. So if somebody wanted to get the vaccine and they were worried about some of the things that people are worried about, this removes a lot of the objections. Plus, they're going to start making it in Canada, because right now you guys don't make any vaccines.
Nope. It'd be nice to have some independence in something.
Exactly. I think Skep mentioned this before. You know about this. This is the one that uses, what is it, the moth or the butterfly cells for actually building the particles that they produce for this.
Yeah, I was reading something about that a while back. It's an interesting technology. I don't know much about it. I could research it if you wanted more information on it.
Well, this is actually similar to the one they use for whooping cough and a few others. Essentially, it's an adjuvant. That's what the vaccine is, and it stimulates an immune response by presenting something that looks like the virus itself, in this case, the spike proteins. It doesn't do anything to the DNA of the cells. It doesn't use your cells to produce spike proteins. It produces something that looks like a spike protein that can't actually do anything. It's effectively a nerd.
The classical vaccine.
Yeah, using high tech to produce it. So
right, exactly. Yeah.
There's this comparison here, and thank you, Geodes, for putting all these links in the chat. So it talks about the the Moderna and the Pfizer and how they work, and Johnson and Johnson. Novovax. The Novovax, this is from Yale Medicine, by the way. So I think we're pretty well in the mainstream YouTube. Please don't kill us. The Novovax vaccine, brand name, don't care, recently applied to the FDA for emergency use authorization for its vaccine, which is also authorized for use in many other countries, recently, including Canada, and is shown to be highly effective, blah, 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 blah. Possible side effects, injection site tenderness, fatigue, headache, muscle pain. And they're in phase 3 trials in a bunch of countries around the world. I checked. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, so they're studying the hell out of this thing. Unlike mRNA vaccines and vector vaccines, which would be the AstraZeneca and the Johnson & Johnson, this is a protein adjuvant. An adjuvant is an ingredient used to strengthen the immune response, while other vaccines trick the body cells into creating parts of the virus that can trigger the immune response. The Novavax vaccine takes a different approach. It contains the spike protein of the coronavirus itself, but formulated as a nanoparticle which cannot cause disease. When the vaccine is injected, this stimulates immune response. Happiness ensues. Hallelujah. So, that's an option. So if somebody wants to get it but doesn't want to get the other thing, keep an eye out for this and maybe talk to your doctor. Any questions?
No.
No. Okay. And I think it's really cool that they're gonna be able to produce it in more places, and they can store it for a bunch of months in the fridge. It's actually really easy. So Tesla, because there's all these people who have a hate boner about Elon Musk. Skep will have something to say about this, no doubt. Tesla will pay zero federal tax dollars, zero federal tax, despite Elon Musk's $11 billion personal tax bill. This is one of the most stupid, ignorant sentences I've seen in a very long time. Skep, would you care to explain why this is dumb?
Good Christ. All right. Hang on a second. Jesus. First of all, having a corporate income tax is basically like putting handcuffs on your economy. It's insane to have it. Germany doesn't even have a corporate income tax. Their economy is much healthier than ours. It's smaller, but it's much healthier, much more robust. And all of this tax business is to feed an organism that is mostly parasitic. Most of what government does is parasitic and unproductive. Most of the activities performed by government servants do absolutely nothing to assist you. Okay, to do nothing that you would go out and pay money for. Do nothing that you would. They do very little. Period. There is an enormous number of them. It is essentially a welfare system, and we support it with our tax dollars. Taxation is theft. This man is being robbed of $11 billion. Okay, our companies in the United States. If we got rid of the corporate income tax, we would stop double taxing dividends. That's one of the most heinous things that we do. We not only steal from you once. If you own stock, we steal from you twice, and then we steal from you again if you make a profit. But if you have a loss, we don't help you out. The government is like a thug bully pulling money out of your wallet. Period. Dot. Why I'm a libertarian. Reason number one: taxes. Taxation is theft.
Well, the $0 in federal taxes for I assume it's a C corporation, Tesla Motors.
Right? Oh, sure, of course it is.
It doesn't mean anything. It simply means that they, as a C corp, took money that they earned, paid it out in things like salaries, and then took the other money that they had and reinvested it. Tesla is building more factories all the time. New
taking
battery
advantage
technology.
of tax loopholes provided by the government.
It's not even a loophole. It's not even a loophole.
Well,
reinvesting money that would be earnings into research and development and expansion, basically taking your money and investing it in making the company bigger and more vigorous and employing more people. There's nothing wrong with it. You get to do that as a C Corp. They pay taxes on the net, not on the gross. So, but Elon Musk, as an individual, sold stock and made money. These two things have absolutely nothing to do with each other. And it's completely normal for a company that's experiencing rapid growth, reinvesting the money that they're making back into the company so that the company becomes bigger and more vigorous, to pay zero taxes. There's no reason that a company would pay taxes all the time.
Right.
It's just, they don't understand the way a C Corp works, let alone a C Corp that's like, you know, engaged in rapid expansion and heavy reinvestment.
Most companies of any size run at about a $0 profit. Only the real cash cows, like things that are very regular, not subject to a lot of change, they're going to be there tomorrow. Those are the ones that tend to end up paying, showing a profit and taking dividends out of that. And, that money that is taxed twice, that just absolutely fries me. I just can't get past that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they were to, we don't need to get into the whole deal of how C Corps and stuff work, but this is why a company like this organizes as a C corporation, is so that it can do exactly this, as opposed to other types of corporations where, the distributions would be handled differently and the ability to reinvest would be different.
Who do you think could handle? Who do you think would make the best use of $11 billion? Elon Musk or some unelected bureaucrat in the Department of Health and Human Services, which spends $11 billion in probably about 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get into too much of a love affair with Elon Musk because we'll be here. There's other channels devoted to that. We can just go watch Ellie in Space or Scott Manley's channel.
Scott Manley. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But Elon is also in trouble because apparently he dared to have a tweet that had a meme which had the H word in it. It had Mr. Hitler in it.
Yeah.
So acknowledging that Hitler existed and using it in a meme is practically the same thing as being Hitler, I guess. These people almost don't have any imagination. Sora wants to say something, I can tell.
No.
No? Okay. So he basically... okay, where's the stupid meme? Basically, he tweeted a picture of Adolf Hitler with the caption, "Stop comparing me to Justin Trudeau. I had a budget." Solid meme.
That's an old joke.
Yeah.
The old thing. The punchline is always Hitler had a mustache.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between Nancy Pelosi and Hitler? Nancy Pelosi has a better mustache.
Nancy also eats dairy.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, totally the same.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, is this just the dumbest thing? How much do you have to just hate Elon Musk to go after him for something this benign? And how does it make the world a better place if we pretend Hitler didn't exist? It seems like he's somebody you should think about periodically and remember that it was bad.
Yeah. Well,
so how is this a problem?
Well, these people don't like success, and ultimately their thought process is we must bring him down to our level.
Boo.
Lord. No, they don't like other people having success. They want themselves to have success. That's what it is.
On the backs of the other people's money. But yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to make fun of Elon Musk, we could talk about how a solar flare caused a bunch of his satellites to deorbit. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh,
when that
no,
happens.
space weather's a thing.
Yeah.
The problem is that if you don't actually try stuff, you don't actually try to do something bold, you never get
won't have
anywhere.
that happen.
You need guys like Elon Musk in the same way that we needed guys like Howard Hughes. Building a giant plane out of wood just because you can is a really stupid thing to do. It's also freaking awesome.
Yes, it is. And the movie of it flying is absolutely inspiring.
Yeah.
I remember on Tailspin, a cartoon show, they made fun of that.
Of the Spruce Goose?
Yeah, they called it Spruce Moose.
Oh no, that was the Simpsons.
No, Tailspin did it too.
Well, they did it in the Simpsons earlier.
Probably, but Tailspin did it too because that was the episode. That was the show I remember because I was a youngin' back then.
Yeah. I will not try to do impressions of the people in the Simpsons to give you the scene because we saw how well that worked for Ted Cruz. It just comes off as being creepy.
On a side note, like there's something, I don't want to say wholesome because that's not the right word, but like there's something reassuring about super smart, super wealthy people failing because it's like, hey, they fuck up too. I'm not a complete useless fool. Okay,
everybody screws up. I'm not saying I'm Elon Musk, but I've told I've told you guys how I thought I was being clever one time and I dropped a Bowflex on my face and nearly killed myself. I mean, I thought I had a really good idea. I found a new way to use my Bowflex. This is going to be great. Nearly died. Awesome. Yeah, you only have to be wrong once.
Really?
That's
wrong once. And then
Okay, Ella knows about it. Quick Smithers to the Spruce Moose. I said, get in. Ella, fix your microphone and come join us. Okay.
Yes, please come.
See. Yes. Sora needs company.
Yeah.
All right. This. I don't usually bring stuff from Zero Hedge because they're really obviously biased.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes they're the only source you can find for this stuff. UK University backtracks after encouraging staff to use neopronouns, emoji self, and cat gender terms.
What?
Jesus.
We're into the lighter stuff now, folks. Okay. Bristol University. Yeah. The London Telegraph reported that the university provided staff guidance on how to properly use pronouns and included links to totally insane material aimed at people who want to be cats. The cat people even have their own flag, according to the material the university pointed to on their LGBTA wiki. Look, it's a cat. Kitty. Yeah. The neo-pronouns go beyond the usual they, them, woke stuff and into the territory of made-up words such as Z, zem, zir, zay, here, hers, I am, here. I don't know. I don't speak woke. Because of these people, actual words that exist are too restrictive and not reflective enough of their identities. The pronouns for cat people are Naya or Nyan, which is Japanese for meow.
Nyan. It's Nyan.
Nyan?
Nyan, yeah.
Okay. The university also linked to material outlining how, for some people, the use of letters and even made-up words is too restrictive. These people like to identify by using emojis. They refer to their emoji self to reflect their gender. And of course, since this is part of PJ Media, we've got the picture of the pregnant man, because that's awesome.
But how does that work?
I don't know.
It doesn't.
Is it like Prince is now a symbol and they are now a pregnant emoji?
Well, apparently the university is claiming that, no, we didn't actually say this was official guidance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Backtrack.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Bristol. I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Bristol.
These external links are not official university guidance, and we are disappointed to see they were reported as such. Well, why are you even catering to these people at all? You're not a cat. I mean, in the same sense that in South Park, Kyle's dad wasn't a dolphin. You can't be trans species. I'm sorry.
Bristol
I'm a
is a
bigot.
pretty good university. I'm surprised that they.
Yeah, but I suppose
fell
if you
for
think
this.
of it as the city, right, is full of, it's an
Yeah.
artsy fartsy place.
It is
So
for sure.
maybe, and it is, for being a city, it is a university town. So maybe they just feel
Uni
like
town. Yep.
It's full
Yeah.
of those people.
Yeah, hopefully this is all just BS and it's all just made up. But we can have good fun at their expense anyway, because we can. Anyway, let's see. So, Sora, we actually have a thing to talk about.
we do.
I ran across something the other day, and I immediately sent a note to Sora because I knew she was the right person to talk to about this.
Oh, Lord.
Do you want to describe this, please?
Sure. So Harry tripped and fell into some crypto NFT.
Oh God, this shit.
So what we're looking specifically here is the crypto coven. So we are looking at the beautiful NFT art of 5 creators. And we should, before we go into the witchy aspect of it, a quick thing. What are NFT, non-fungible, I can't say that word. I'm sorry.
Non-fungible tokens.
Thank you. Non-fungible tokens. So digital art that once you pay for it, technically the original one is yours, and you own it, except for the fact that you can right click and save the images.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what my icon is today, it is indeed one of the lovely witches from the crypto coven. Because you can right click and save.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying 300 something real money. Well, actually now
Yeah, wait till we get
they're
to the
within
money
the
part of it.
thousands. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ahead of myself. So when Harry showed this to me, I got all excited because in the last few years there's been a rise in this whole idea of corporate witchcraft or corporate witches. So I'm like, I got all excited thinking this is a part of it.
Nope.
So we kind of did a background check of what's going on with witchcraft, paganism, and all that nonsense, right?
Mhm.
So we're a very quick background to what brought us here is going back to 2016, 2017. So around the time Trump is elected, you've have in the next few years from then, you've got covens becoming mainstream. Having curse parties against certain members of parliament. Sorry, members of your Republicans there, the Republican Party specifically, like Brett Kavanaugh had witches cursing him.
Mhm.
You had Trump.
No, hold on.
being
They weren't.
cursed.
They're not curses. I actually
Sorry.
did. No,
Sorry.
I actually did my research on this and talked to an
Hexes.
actual
Hex.
high magic person, not one of these low magic witch people, and they were binding spells. Now,
They
binding
also did
spell,
hexes. And there
binding
were-
spell, but the big mainstream ones were binding spells, basically to stop them from being able to do evil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a big push on Twitter for the people to curse Kavanaugh and Trump because I remember seeing them.
Well, Twitter's a cesspool.
I know, but I was just there. There was curses, there was hexes, there was bindings, so on and so forth.
But the big ones that were in the news where these people would go out and chant and perform their little ceremonies, those were binding spells.
And it's not new because these sort of groups have been sort of on the fringes for decades, right?
Mhm.
But it's just there has been this increase due to what's been happening. Specifically, we're looking at the states, right? Increase of what was happening with the change in anti-abortion laws, with the rise of anything that's not Christianity or related is bad. And
Do you want me to bring up the background article, the one at the end?
Oh.
Because it seems like
sure.
we're sort of alluding to this one. So there's this article
Yeah,
in the
so
Atlantic.
the reason why I wanted to start this first is because that's where I thought this NFT thing was coming from. So we're looking at like, why is it on the rise? And it's basically new ageism for the millennial set. At least how we look at this is how this particular article or this in this article kind of talks about.
Mhm.
So instead of, whereas before when you think of someone who's a who likes New Ageism, you're thinking about crystals and those copper bowls you make sounds with, and I don't know, yes, incense, etc. It's still that, except now, like with most things, because I don't know if this is just a millennial thing or now it's a Gen Zer thing, but you can't like something or be interested in something without making it your whole identity. So in this case is now political identity, it is a religious identity, it's all of this thing. Because you can only go extreme. You can only, if you choose to like something, it is now everything. So with that, you have the advent of people selling things on Etsy and online and doing their own shops of just arts. And you have to be very careful though, because certain sites like a Square, the payment company, Etsy, eBay, etc., they do connotate occult stuff as racist, like in that kind of category. So there's a lot of things of how you name things where you cannot, you have to be very careful how you sell things.
Let me interject for a moment, because I feel like I think I need to help a little bit here. So there's, in the Christian churches, there are these, I think they call it prosperity gospel, you know, like the Crystal Cathedral. And the idea is the more you donate
and claim it.
Yeah, the more you donate, the more benefit, the more wealth and prosperity will come to you through the power of this religion.
Jesus steals your dollars.
What Sora was talking about is originally, you go back to the 50s, they mentioned in this article the origins of a lot of this sort of neo-paganism stuff. What's the gentleman's name? I can't remember. But he's
Aleister Crowley?
No, it wasn't Crowley. It was this book from 1957 that they talk about here. But, Gardner, Gerald Gardner. Now, he actually is tied to, I mean, this is what my sources tell me, that he's actually tied to Crowley and Golden Dawn and all that sort of stuff. But that's not what he was talking about in this book. So this was sort of the neo-pagan genesis. Now, later you move on, and what Sora was talking about is it's almost like this is a left-wing feminist thing that sort of, in a lot of ways, mirrors what's happening more in the right-wing Christian conservative prosperity gospel. And what caught my attention with this NFT thing was just the sheer amount of money that these people were paying. This is an insane amount of money. Let's see, what was it? I found that great source talking about. So they, what was it? $20 million they'd raised at the time of the article, from 20 million with an M. And here's the current stats, since it's an NFT sort of thing. 164 over the last 7 days, with an average price of $5,900 each. And I started thinking, it's over almost $1 million of trading volume in the last 7 days. This to me seems kind of insane. So when Sora was talking about the Etsy stores and stuff, I started thinking, holy crap, how much money do these people have? So then it was like, well, what does the sort of neo-pagan economy actually look like?
It's, oh boy.
Oh boy is right. So
I run in this community, so yeah, no, I know how much money they throw
okay,
around.
so you can correct me if we do something wrong. So do you want to talk about the stuff and then go back to the NFTs, or do you want to do the NFTs and then the stuff?
Before because we were talking about the amount of money generated, I just want to bring out, because from that original article, and we were talking this before the show, the whole Coven witchy aspect was the last thing that they brought to the table when they decided to do NFTs. The whole reason this crypto coven was created was because the first two women who decided to create this, who go by Nyx and Alethea, they were in the tech industry, and they liked the idea of NFT. NFT was like a digital art. So they decided that, oh, well, why don't we, there's not that many women creators in the sphere. Why don't we do something? You know, we have some artistic talent. Let's do it. And then they got a few more people to join them to help with the programming. And then they settled on a witch theme. And if that is not a big, what will right now earn us the biggest money, because they could have just done pretty girl faces, but they specifically created a lore and philosophy around their NFTs.
What can we cash in on? What's hot right now?
I want to
Yeah.
punch these women because that
By the way-
thing on the screen is a Gemini, and I'm like, no, bitch.
That picture that I have ready to share, Harry, is an actual picture of Gerald Gardner. Gerald is on the right. That is Gerald
Nice.
Gardner on the right. He's
Nice.
not. the
Why am I
demon.
not seeing it?
We can see
You
it.
have, you have.
Oh, you can see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it.
That's wild, because StreamYards is not showing it to me. Okay, I
That's
guess
interesting.
I'm glad it's not a picture of anybody's penis. Thank you. Because I
wouldn't
can't
do
see
that to you,
shit.
Harry.
Okay. StreamYards is awesome.
All right. Well, anyway, I just wanted to show you what Gerald looked like. He looks like a crazy old man.
Well, but a lot of these people, when they first started out in the 50s, I mean, let's face facts. It was a place where people could hook up and get busy. There was a lot of nakedness, a lot of intoxication, and a lot of
Oh, yeah.
fornicating.
Oh, yeah.
And a
Still
lot
is.
of this sort of neo-pagan political stuff is a more recent development, at least according to my sources. You know, and I'm not being a prude here. I don't really care. It's like, you know, you want to be a furry and hook up, you want to be into
It's
the
like,
occult and hook up. It is none of my
what did they
business.
call it? Safe, sane, and consensual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're good. Whatever the.
yeah. Nice X you
Queen.
got there, Alistair.
We actually know somebody in our gaming group who is practices well more like neo-pagan beliefs that I just realized. I just remembered.
Mhm.
So yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, we're not talking about we're not criticizing somebody's beliefs necessarily.
But it's those people
it's
with
about the
beliefs
amount
that
of
are-
money that they have and like the willingness to
God,
just
yeah.
spend it on like NFTs. Holy crap, where are
If you
these
want-
people getting this money?
So I have the starting amount. So in the article it says so when they started selling them, it was through a closed group on Discord of the beginning followers, and so that was at Halloween fitting. So they sold for they sold the first batch, which all look like this, for 0.05 Ethereum, sorry, each, which was roughly $215 at the time. So each of these, if you would think of it, whatever the small amount, it's now over 9,000 images. So each of these ones were around $215 for a digital image, which are, and you can see you can see now the price as you scroll down. You can see what the price are now.
Yeah.
On
or
the side there.
the last sale, yeah.
Yeah, the last sale, because once they're minted, meaning the original is purchased, they can be traded back and forth.
Trading cards.
Mm-hmm. But like then it goes up in price. What's very interesting about these are generated by code. So this is the original bases may have been hand drawn at some point, but all of these are generated through a code. So the hats, the tattoos, the coloring, the skin tone, the everything, the eye shapes, they're all generated through code. Some
What about the
up
names?
more.
Because this is like we're in with Watermelon, the Calm Delusion. I feel like we're in
There has to
Crossfire
be.
Hurricane territory.
They each have a little description under them too, and I 100% it reads like one of those name generators
Mhm.
or like RPG generators, you know, where it generates the background of a character because you don't have time to think of it yourself. That's exactly how it reads. It's amazing. This is fascinating. So you have all of these stuff, and they have through that created this lore around what it means to be a witch, to their eyes, to be in the crypto COVID, what it means to do all this stuff, and it's, you know, the feminine, the this, the that, the other, which is all very shallow level of witchiness. It's very, very like what you expect from like you go to Urban Outfitters, for example, and you buy like a witchcraft set because they actually sold those at some point, you know, with crystals and no, that's the thing. This is why I was so excited, because it was like, this is the thing that's happening. You can just go to any mainstream stuff, get a kit, you know, from Urban Outfitters, and now you're a witch.
Yeah.
And then you have people online who sell the same things, getting all frazzle dazzled because they are real Wiccans, are real into
there's
this.
all this stuff,
you know.
The stuff that I looked up, like, you can get your rings and your ceremonial daggers. It's only mirrors makes no difference, $1,000. Let's see, that's the jewelry, and then there's clothing, because of course you have to have, gotta have the look.
Very pretty.
You gotta have all that stuff. That actually is pretty cool.
There are
daggers.
similar prints on Amazon, so I'd be amazed if it's original.
Sure. Have some daggers. Why not? That's actually cheap compared to everything else. Or I guess they're called Athema or Atema. Athame. See, I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me.
That's the.
Well, it's
and
like
there's stuff on Etsy. Actually, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. See, Athame.
Yeah. And then goblets. I mean, there's just so much. I mean, it's expensive, but it's not thousands and thousands of dollars expensive.
It's also something you do own physically.
Yeah, this NFT thing is like on a whole nother level from like this sort of stuff. Altar tiles, goblets, chalices. These pyramids are really cool. I don't know what they're for, but they look nice.
It's resin. It's resin. But this is okay. DeviantArt was doing this years ago. So was Tumblr. This is basically just OC art where people had
what did I tell you?
Original characters, and they would draw them and they would sell them. They still do this shit, and that's basically what it is. Because I can guarantee you, as someone who has friends and kind of runs in that circle a little bit, just because I like the art and I think it's pretty and stuff like that. None of those women look like that. Not a one.
Of course not. Well, the whole point is like I like why I picked up I scrolled for like a good 20 minutes, not gonna lie, looking through all the pretty pictures. This one has snake eyes and has neon green hair and black scleras.
Being like a real neo-pagan is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And if you're going to do like high magic stuff, it's way more work. You have to do lots and lots and lots of reading. And of course there's the training. You spend all this money on training. These classes start at like $500.
Oh, nice.
Just to spend time with somebody. I think it was like this was $500 before COVID.
Which is very interesting because I always thought that this is just like certain religions. This is your personal journey, right? That how you read into it and how you want to form it, right?
Yeah,
that's how it used to be. Now everyone because Elwin and I were talking in YouTube chat, no one obeys the law of the threefold rule anymore. No one cleanses anything anymore because no one wants to actually deal with any of the belief systems of the ramifications of it. Because the rule is basically don't put out what you don't want to come back to you, and if you do it in a hateful way, it will come back to you threefold. That's the rule. But no one wants to deal with it anymore because they all just want to be like, well, I don't believe in that. It's like, okay, but the rule still applies even in real life. If you do something bad, it will come back to bite you in the butt. It's kind of like even the bindings and the hexes and stuff like that, even just a binding, because binding is not considered in that community to be that bad of a thing. Bindings, you're only supposed to do that to people you actually are in your social circle or kind of one or two rotations out. You're not supposed to do it to someone you have never met, never interacted with. It's considered bad, to lack of a better phrase, juju. It's considered bad because you don't actually know this person, because you actually have to know them and know that they're doing bad or have the capability of doing bad to do that kind of stuff. This is basically a bunch of outsiders trying to look for an excuse to be inside a group that's exclusatory to others, but still think they have power. It's a whole weird thing, and they don't respect the old rules. They don't respect a lot of the older people who are in it, who actually live by this, either by the Druid stances or by Wiccan or by the different type of paganisms and stuff like that. They don't respect any of it. And it's just a bunch of people basically cosplaying in a weird way and trying to act like they're God's gift to this planet.
A lot of the pagan stuff, it's kind of weird because it seems to deal with very mundane sorts of things.
Yeah.
Like I want shinier hair, or or I want some people to be nicer to me. I mean, I want luck. I want to attract,
or just protect your house and your family. There's a lot of spells that are just protection for house and family and stuff like that. Or
Well, I mean,
protect
this
my
is
property.
the like I said, the high magic sort of low magic thing, you know, as opposed to the big ceremonial, you know, life and death kind of karmic hugeness of it. This is really just very kind of mundane types of things, and I mean mundane in the technical sense.
Yeah, no, I
know,
get what
dealing with like everyday kind of life sorts of things, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the focus on money seems kind of unseemly. I guess as a not religious, not superstitious person, sort of when I left it, it was all just kind of like big meaning of life.
Yeah.
Where's the
Well, it's like-
universe going kind of stuff. And to see people in what's kind of like a religious practice talking about everyday things just feels odd, but it wouldn't if I was a 13th century Catholic.
Well, that's the thing. Like I have to several of these people's faces called them a pagan.
Mhm.
Because it's like it's not about the things, it's about what you do. And like I know, like I remember there's one person I knew, she was like an acquaintance, but she paid $500 for a tarot deck. Like they pay thousands of dollars for some of these crystals and some of the singing bowls. Like a good crystal singing bowl set can be $5,000 to $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there is a giant one of those that's I don't even know if it was for sale at one of my local New Age place. That is just, it's like I don't even, hold on, I have a tape measure. It's huge and it's $25,000 Canadian.
Yeah.
Local New Age place, things you won't find in Texas.
Oh no, there's
maybe
a big Wiccan
90,
thing in Texas.
90 centimeters diameter, which is what's that? Like
I'm just teasing,
35,
Sora.
36 inches, 35 inches.
You wanted me to link something, Sora?
Oh no, that was for Serenity.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
Never
Sorry.
mind. You girls carry on.
Yeah. But no, it's like there's
Oh, sorry, before you start, but you can change it. Did I send you the link for the witchcraft the rise of progressive occultism?
You did. And
Because you
it's-
could, that's a good one to change to now.
Okay.
Sorry,
I can do
Serenity.
that.
no God, no, that stuff drives me freaking insane.
'Cause
I want to
it's,
hurt those people.
Because that has AOC in it.
I'm gonna someone in a book actually insinuated that she is like Jesus, and I'm like, I'm not even Christian, I want to punch you.
She shared her birth chart. So this is this
Oh,
particular
God,
one's from
that.
2019.
This
And
is the
it's
one,
ta-
right?
Yeah, that's the one. It's talking a little bit more about
I wonder if she even did it
the
right.
rise of witchcraft as well as being a counter emblem to Trumpinism or however they pronounce it there.
Astro Twit went wild.
There you go. I agree with Skep on that one. But
This
I
is a
don't know.
great name. Meanwhile, Lip-Bonewits.
Oh, why am I not surprised? I'm probably Vodou. They're probably a Vodou practitioner.
Bonewits.
If that's his actual name, what other profession can you go into with your name like Bonewits?
Yeah.
Porn star.
Yeah.
I actually met somebody whose last name was
Yeah.
Biggerstaff.
Oh, nice.
It's very,
I've known a
very,
Biggerstaff. Yeah.
very, what was it? The thing with Weller and Ellen Barkin, you know.
Uh-huh.
Buckaroo
Anyway,
Banzai. Buckaroo
there you go.
Banzai. See, I'm old. I can't remember all the movies in my head.
Oh, this
Too
dude,
many of them.
he's Jewish. This dude's got a schnoz. This guy's Jewish. Sack of lying sack.
Well, he
Look at
say
this.
that he's Semitic. He's Semitic. That's the Semitic nose. That's not really a Jewish nose. It's a bit of a slur.
He looks like a good little Jewish boy to me.
What are you talking about, Bonewits?
Yeah, because I looked him up on Alignable.
Oh, good. Well, I
decided
feel
to
like
read
we've sort of reached the end of this part of things. Is there more that we need to say, Sora?
No, just please don't. It's not worth it. You work hard for your money. Do you really want an NFT that I can easily just borrow for a day and I have paid 0 cents for? Like, it's beautiful and it's gorgeous, but no.
No.
I'm just getting a ton of PTSD flashbacks to my Yu-Gi-Oh days. That's all I'm getting when we
Yeah,
start
that's
talking about
another thing.
NFTs
This
and
is like
cards.
that's another thing. This NFT stuff's turning into. It's turning into the Yu-Gi-Oh and the Pokemon card people.
More
What
like Magic the
is
Gathering.
cool,
But,
and I will say this: if you guys want to look into this thing, the way they did the coding and stuff, and as someone doesn't know, for all I know, this could be simple coding, all things considered, but I think that is cool that they basically have this computer system algorithm thing that created all of these stuff, right?
Mhm.
That's for me is very neat, and I love the art. So if you're interested in something like that, perhaps you want to go into coding, or it's something that someone is interested in and has artistic talent, maybe show them this, because hey, that's no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
Just don't purchase it. Just,
Yes, please.
So-
or I'm going to
unless
purchase
you
it.
you take that art, you put it on like a shirt or a pin or something like that, where you're able to sell your art and enjoy it. But man, it's something else. And this was not made with witchcraft and that kind of in mind. That was the perfect thing, because everybody's into that now. They're so discontented. They need the idea of control over their lives, and purchasing something like this is what brings it to them, I guess.
I just give Shag, the artist who does sort of the retro looking stuff, far too much money. I have way too many Shag things.
I was about to say, just go to DeviantArt and get one of the OC people to draw you something. It'll be yours, and it'll be much cheaper.
Yeah. I actually, let me see. I can probably show this, but I don't think we'll get too much trouble.
Famous last words.
I actually have this hanging in my office.
Oh, I like that. I like it.
I have like a whole little story in my head about what's going on here.
The pink elephant puppet, the broken
she's
wine glass.
entertaining that guy, and then the brunette's got the broken wine glass, and she's gonna shank a bitch.
Gonna get you.
That's great.
Is she gonna shank a bitch, or is she gonna shank the guy?
No, she's gonna shank a bitch. This is how it goes.
Yeah.
I spend way too much money on this stuff, so I'm hardly in a position to criticize, because these prints are several $100s signed, numbered, and I get like 1 of 50 instead of 1 of 1. So, hey, people spend money on whatever they want to spend money on.
Yep.
Totally not, I'm not, like I said, I'm not in a position to judge. I just spend money on other things. And occasionally when I need an alter ego, I've actually pulled this bit out and I'll use this.
Yeah,
as
that
me.
one we all know, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I hate to do this to you, but we have penis news, and I'm really, really sorry ahead of time.
No. This was fun. Thank you for bringing
You're
it to
very
my
welcome.
attention.
No, this is a terrible way to end the show. I present to you a book, Natural Harvest, a collection of semen-based recipes.
Woohoo!
By Paul Foti Fotenhauer.
Hey, you want to share it on the screen? I don't know if you want to.
I'm not sharing it?
No,
you're not.
you're showing your alter ego.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, never mind. Here we go. Boop.
Yay, penis news.
Yeah, Penis News, Natural Harvest, a collection of semen-based recipes. Now, this is from the same guy that also earlier brought you Semenology, the Semen Bartender's Handbook.
Oh, God.
I'm still struggling to figure out if this is real or if he's just generating white elephant gifs. Because the line between cringe and satire is so close now that I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
I still wouldn't buy it, even if it's a funny gift. There's
There are
just
too many other funny gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with Skep.
I've got a.
Ew.
I have a.
Images you should not masturbate.
Oh my god.
That would be a book worth buying, I think. There, get that one instead.
Hey, buy anything. Buy this crap taxidermy. Sure. Why not?
I like the one, how to talk to your cat about gun safety.
A humorous look at what happens when taxidermy goes terribly wrong.
You ran Assassin of the Grey off.
Oh, sorry. With which thing? The taxidermy or the
I think
semen
it was
recipe?
Good night,
I think it was
assassin.
his- He
Good
was like,
night,
no, I'm
sir.
out.
Good night,
I'm
assassin.
out.
Look inside. Did they show pictures?
Maybe.
Oh no, that animal died for
Yeah.
Oh no,
Fearsome barn owl. I swear it looks like Potato Jesus.
Is that a badger?
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, that's an American badger.
Enjoying this sample? Actually, I am. I think I might have to buy this book.
Oh Lord, Harry.
All right. I think we're done.
That's
Are
a
we
better
done?
way to end.
I'm gonna Google taxidermy mistakes. The only thing that I wanted to add about the one story was that
Okay.
that guy Lip Boneshits or whatever his name was, Arthur
Yeah.
Lip Boneshits, said that based on AOC's horoscope, she would be in politics for the rest of her life. That sounds quite sinister to me.
It
It
does.
sounds like a JFK prophecy. Just saying. So I wanted to end the show on a happy note.
It's not an open-ended commitment, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. This has been the Minions of the Zoo, even though at times it probably seemed like it wasn't. Good night, everybody.
Good night.